Today we're looking at some site information that every reseller should know. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about site traffic and some other site information that every reseller out there should know. When you're looking to put your items somewhere, let's say with a brick and mortar, when they're searching for a new location, for a new brick and mortar, and I did this, I've worked in the brick and mortar field as a regional manager and as a general manager, we would check the traffic in any given area of the town where we decided to put one in there. You can pull up traffic reports on pretty much any town there is, so you can see how much thoroughway traffic there is going in front of certain areas if you're going to invest in something. The same thing goes with where you put your items online. Now, I look at many key factors, but site traffic is an important one. Bounce rate, how many pages a person visits when they go to a site. And that all matters when you're looking at sites to list on. It's very important, in all honesty. If you pick a site and they have no traffic, the bounce rate's horrible, other key factors that could mean you could make some sales are horrible, then you could waste a ton, and I do mean a ton of time, investing in transferring, checking, and going back and forth with these other sites. It could cost you some of your business. It could cost you time. Let's hop over right now and look at some data. So here we are on a web page that I've shown. I use this fairly regularly, quite often actually, Similar Web. I'll also have a link to this site in the description box for anybody who would want to check this out themselves. Now, this shows the global ranking for eBay. They're number 26 on the globe. They're 10th in this country of all sites, and they're number 2 in the e-commerce. Obviously, Amazon is number 1. Amazon is a given. Amazon is always a good place to list items, no matter what your feelings are. Sales do come through. There is so much more volume there than there is on eBay. But again, eBay is where I compare most things because more items that I sell will sell better on eBay than they will on other platforms. So eBay is a key for most people watching this video, I would imagine, as well. Now, other information it's going to show you is total visits. Now, these go monthly. These are a monthly basis, so 936 million views just this month. And you can track it. It's been going up steadily. They had a little dip here for just a moment, and then they're right back up, fairly level. Not a real bad thing here where they're standing, down just a hair. But altogether, it's a good result here. Bounce rate, very good bounce rate, 35.98%. These are the amount of people that just click on one link and bounce and remove themselves from the site because they didn't like what they see. This is like a Google search result that comes up and it shows them something and it's not at all what they're looking for. Now, this basically means that 35.98% of everybody who clicks on a link that takes them to eBay only looks at that one page and bounces off. That's how quickly they're getting off the page. Now, if the person is on the page and doesn't bounce that much, they're looking at 7.57 pages every time they click on a link that takes them to eBay. Doesn't matter the link. This is just overall results. Average duration on eBay is 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, that doesn't mean that's bad, even if the number on some other platforms may be 10 or 12 minutes. It's a difference between how many pages they view, what they're viewing, and obviously the length of time they're on the site. But these are all key information here. Now, another big information that you'll see here is where a lot of the traffic is coming from on eBay. Almost 80% of all traffic on eBay is coming from the U.S. Good thing there. It shows that a lot of Americans use the site, and you can compare Amazon on your own. Now, we're not going to look at Amazon today just because that's not the point of this conversation. We all know Amazon's a good source. This also breaks down where the traffic is coming from. These are direct, like somebody automatically going straight to eBay. Now, the rest of it is from searches. So 35% of all eBay traffic's coming from elsewhere, from random searches and things like that, from Chrome and elsewhere. It's not people going directly to eBay. That number is increased. It used to only be 30%. So 70% of all eBay traffic just not too long ago was direct traffic. So that number's dropping. So that means that Chrome and off-site searches are becoming more prevalent. Referrals and things, these are services that may direct people to the sites. Search in general, they talk about organic and the whole works. This breaks it down. 22% of this figure, this 27% here, are from paid. eBay pays for keywords to show up in searches, believe it or not, by what this data shows here. And again, it shows you what the organic searches are as well, which are just standardized searches that aren't like promoted by a paid service or anything like that. Now, these are just for the ones searching for eBay, the site itself. You can go into similar aspects of this as well with all kinds of different terminology if you want. Now, I get nothing for talking about this site. It has nothing to do with the basis here. I've looked at a dozen or more sites that give you basically the same information, and this one's the most clearest you can find. It's easy to explain, easy to look at. It's just a good site. And all of the sites that I've looked at have pretty much the same percentages and totals, probably getting it from Google Chrome or something in the first place. So it doesn't really matter where you look. The information is darn close. It's within the margin of error. So there's no difference basically from any site out here. This just looks much better. Gives you the social networking percentage of traffic that comes in. The majority of it's from YouTube. Next down is Facebook. And we're talking minuscule amounts. Maybe 1% of all traffic on eBay may come from a specific source like Facebook or YouTube or something. And that's extremely slim. Display advertising it goes into. They go into some other things, what other audiences are looking for. Now let's do a couple comparisons. I get a lot of questions and a lot of complaints that I don't talk about Mercari. Again, I'll try to say it correctly for those who are bothered by that. And we're going to look up that as well. And we're going to look it up two different ways because this information can be useless if you're not paying attention to what this is showing you here. Now it's comparing eBay to Mercari, and we can see the numbers here. And this looks like, well, eBay's only about 10 times as much as Mercari in total visits, total traffic. Now there's another fact you need to know before you look at that 98.98 million Mercari is getting from this. Let's look up Mercari on its own and just see what we get here. Now, one thing you notice here is they are a Japanese company. It is not an American company. So the total views you see, the 98.98 million compared to eBay's 936 million, isn't a fair comparison. And I tell you why that is. Now, looking at this number here, this 98 million, let's just say it's 100 million to make this explanation a little easier. 70% of all of the traffic to Mercari is coming from Japan. So if you're listing it from America, from the US, you're only going to get a very small percentage of that 98 million. You're only going to get 26% of those views, 26%. So this drops this number down to 26 million when you compare it to eBay's US viewership. So this number here drops the percentage down when you compare it to eBay on here. So it's basically comparing it to a much smaller number. Now you can look at eBay as we did just a few minutes ago, and you can see that 80% or so of the views are from this country, obviously. So it's the same basic principle with Mercari. It's very important to know the traffic. Now there's other factors down here you can see too, directly wise. So not as many people are aware of Mercari. This is not specific to a specific country, but you can look into that if you want to pay for their service. Again, I don't pay for this service. I do pay for other services that give me information similar to this style of stuff too. Now let's look at Bonanza on here as well. Now if you pay for the service, you can look at a whole bunch of these compared right next to each other. So we're going to look at Bonanza against eBay and trying to get a overall comparison too. Now Bonanza, 4.7 million. That is it. That's way, way, way smaller than Mercari as well. So again, Bonanza in my book, just by the sheer numbers, is just not worth it. Over half the people that click on one link that takes them to Bonanza, they bounce right off that page after only looking at one single page. Time frame on the site is almost half of eBay. The amount of page visits, very small as well too. So overall, it's just not very good. So you can do this for pretty much any of the sites you want on here. Let's look up Poshmark now as well. And let's look at what their numbers are compared to eBay. Now, Poshmark is well above, if you consider that 26 million views that are US views, they're well above that, 36.99 million views in a month, which is pretty good. You can't really see much of a gain, though, on their store. It's just so small. Duration on the site is longer, pages per visit's longer, but the bounce rate is much higher as well. Now, the amount of time on the site could be geared towards what you have to look at one specific item. Let's say a shirt may take longer to decide if you want versus a book or a piece of paper. So again, clothing is most of what you'll find on Poshmark in general. But their numbers aren't terrible, but if you compare them to eBay, it's nowhere. If you want to know more about Poshmark, just search for Poshmark. Don't do a comparison from eBay to Poshmark. And you can see true numbers and things like that as well. So just FYI when you're doing these comparisons. Now you can also look at rankings, of course. So we can go here to category ranking just for eBay and get some better information on some other areas. Where they stand, you can compare bounce rates from many different sites and kind of get a gist on this. And you can see Amazon's different country sites are obviously separated in here. So you can rank them all across the board. You can look at bounce rates and the whole works. Amazon's bounce rate is actually higher than eBay's. The amount of visit duration on Amazon versus eBay is pretty darn close. Page visits, though, is a little bit more on Amazon. That just might mean that it's easier to find something on Amazon in general. But you can go through here and compare all sorts of different factors when doing these numbers. Other information that I always look at are amount of employees, the availability of their applications, which again, you can see a whole bunch more here. Now, some other factors I look at are referrals. It's not a huge chunk of traffic, but it does help you understand what's going on. This kind of gives you a sense on paid referrals, paid movement to these sites. And it gives you some sites that you can kind of tie some of your items in with as well. It also gives you destinations after eBay, such as PayPal. Now, referrals also give you the top destination sites. Now, these are destination sites that eBay sends people to. This is part of the process of payments. Managed Payments has changed these figures. It used to just be that it would mostly go to PayPal. So if eBay directs you to go to another site, PayPal's numbers were huge. I mean huge. They were the majority of where the destinations were on this report here. If you followed this before when Managed Payments took over, you can see that that number has steadily dropped percentage by percentage. And you know what has increased, though? Is Google Payments. Google Payments wasn't on this list before Managed Payments exist because Google Payments wouldn't have been a destination that eBay directed somebody to go to because, again, you weren't paying through that service. It wasn't an option. But now they're up 72%, again, because of Managed Payments. So these figures mean something. It's important figures to see too. So again, even though this isn't a big overall percentage, you can kind of get a gist on things when they're changing in the dynamics of eBay. So Managed Payments has skewed these numbers in different directions. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to the paid services. What's being paid? These are paid keywords. Like eBay apparently at some point was trying to dominate the market with Nintendo Switch, it looks like. Again, because if you look at here, leading keywords bought by eBay.com to attract desktop traffic from search engines. No idea why they would be paying or looking into Nintendo Switch at this point, but maybe they have a deal with Nintendo. So again, if you had better access to more information, you could track down possibly why eBay was paying for things. And if you sell certain items that those same keywords are tied to, you could have a bigger boost selling them on eBay than other platforms. So again, there's a lot of information that can be gleaned from these sorts of things. You can look up specific keywords and all kinds of things on other sites as well. Google Trends is another one which I have talked about. So if you use SimilarWeb along with Google Trends, you can easily tell hot items, hot sites, the sites that are moving, the sites that are slowing down, the best place to list your item. It is 100% key to list your item again with the most traffic, just like in brick and mortar. Traffic means everything. If I spend a lot of time or energy in listing on another platform, there could be some detrimental aspects of that due to the time invested in it that would possibly hurt my sales. So again, if you want to be successful, you have to be able to use information such as this to determine the best place to put your stuff. The site with the most traffic, the site with the most interest, those are what you want to use. That will get you more money. It won't waste your time or anything else selling on sites that may not get you a return on it. Again, there are people that have good success on Poshmark or Mercari or any of these other sites, but it's limited. It's very limited when you look at the overall site traffic compared to the site traffic on a smaller site like that. Well, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
country cornflakes, you country cornflakes. Oh, they won't will when you pour on milk. Oh, they won't bunch when they are crunch. They're double toasted, double crisp and good. General Mills makes them just the way they should. You country cornflakes, you country cornflakes. From fields of corn, so majestically waving that they won't will when you pour on milk. Double toasted cornflakes made with rice. So buy our cornflakes, you country cornflakes, you country cornflakes. Please buy our cornflakes, you country cornflakes, you country cornflakes, you country cornflakes. They're made from corn.